Islamist militants in Iraq and in Syria seem to be gaining ground. Can you assure investors that Jordan is safe? And are we going to see those crises in those countries continuing?
Well, I mean, I think we have a history of over many decades of Jordan always being stable throughout the region, whatever the crises are. You've got to remember, with everything that's going on around us, Jordan has done extremely well. We've had growth of 3% over the past couple of years. We're expecting 4% over the next 2 or 3. Our reserves in the central bank are the highest they've ever been. When we look at the region, you mentioned sort of Syria and Iraq. Iraq has always been a very strong market for us. And I believe that the Iraqi government with the coalition forces are going to open the route between Amman and Baghdad this summer. So that's again sort of a very strong market that's going to be reopened. So I think those that are coming to look to invest in Jordan, it's not just the traditional Iraq market, but again the FTAs that we have with the GCC, and that's a traditional market. But we've always looked beyond the region. It's not just looking at Jordan. We have free trade agreements with the United States, with Canada. Mexico's coming online. So again, it's the Americas that has been an area of interest. We've been very bullish about moving towards Asia, so it's India and further afield. And because of the development of the seaport city of Aqaba, there's now a new move to look at the Horn of Africa and how do we develop the East African countries. So again, there are opportunities that are coming up and people are knocking on Jordan's door.
In terms of the challenges here at home, 20% of your population are refugees right now. You also have a water crisis, and you also are dealing with the fact that you are a net energy importer. How are you tackling those problems?
Well, definitely again, the challenge with 20% of our population being refugees, we do get a lot of support from the international community. I think most people don't understand that 85% of the refugees are not in the refugee camps, they're actually outside. And so that's a burden on the Jordanian economy. Almost 25% of the GDP is then a burden that we have to take care of looking after the refugees. And that does create a bit more of a challenge. However, how do we offset that with the energy needs that we need? Because of the lack of gas that we get from Egypt, we had to move quickly, and this is, I think, always a secret of Jordan, of being able to adapt to all the challenges that we've had, and that's why you're seeing a major investment in alternative energy.
So your message to investors is, don't be put off by the regional chaos.
Well, I think we've always said, wherever there's been problems in the region, Jordan doesn't use that as an excuse not to move forward, whether it's economic reform or political reform. I keep telling our people it's business as usual, and we shouldn't shy away. In actual fact, when there are crises, this is the time to take advantage and actually push forward.
What's the value proposition for entrepreneurs, for investors when they come to Jordan? Why would they choose Jordan, for example, instead of choosing Dubai?
Well, what has always made Jordan successful is the investment into human capital. That's really been sort of our export, and if anything, my ideal long-term vision is to bring that export back into Jordan. Many countries in the region are supported by the Jordanian human talent. That's the capital that we have. And I think that's what sets us apart from other countries. So when you look at ICT and you realize that 70 to 75% of the Arab content is actually out of Jordan, where out of the top 10 for startups is in Jordan. When you look at medical tourism, we're number 5 in the world. It comes down back to the Jordanian talent. And because it's homegrown as opposed to imported, I think that's what differentiates Jordan from other countries. So when partners come from outside to invest in Jordan, then they have the Jordanian partner, which is a very solid, young, tech-savvy partner to be able to invest in. And I think that's what differentiates Jordan from many countries in the region.